And now, a Buddy Check 13 reminder with News 13's Amy Hoyt.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to 13 Now. I'm News 13's Amy Hoyt, and we're coming to you live from our newsroom on Harrison Avenue in downtown Panama City. Today, as you know, we're wearing pink. It is Buddy Check Day, and that's the day we remind everyone to check for lumps in their breast to make sure that they get that mammogram if they find something or feel something, and talk to their doctor, because early detection for breast cancer, of course, is key. And on this day every month, we like to bring you a special guest, someone who can attest to being a breast cancer survivor. And today we have a special guest, and you may recognize her. Trish Warriner is a breast cancer survivor. She is well known in the community, and she hails from Gulf County, but I think everybody across the Panhandle knows who you are. Welcome, Trish. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And it's an honor that I was asked.
Well, it's good to have you here, and I do appreciate you going out of your way to come across and come make the trip to Panama City. Sure. Let's talk a little bit about your breast cancer diagnosis, which was 10 years ago.
It was in 2013. I had my mammogram as usual. And, well, let me flip back a little bit. In 2012, I had a mammogram, and there was a spot on my left breast that wasn't really unusual, but if I wanted to get aggressive, I could get it biopsied and yada, yada, yada. Well, I chose not to. Not a big deal. And then I'm adopted. And so between 2012 and my diagnosis in 2013, I found my birth mom and found out that she had a sister that died from breast cancer. So I found some lumps on my right side, which ultimately ended up being just cysts. But my gynecologist jumped on it and said, you got to get this looked at. So I did, and found out that the left side was of concern and had it biopsied, found it was malignant, and, the story goes on from there.
What were your feelings when you were diagnosed and they said, yep, we think this is breast cancer, the lump needs to come out? Because some time had passed from when they first found the original. So
right. So when my surgeon that did the biopsy gave me the results, David and me the results, because he was been with me every step of the way, she said it's malignant. And I freaked out. Wasn't crying at that moment, but my gynecologist's office was directly down the hall, and so I marched myself down there wanting to see her immediately. Well, that didn't happen, and that's okay. But she talked me off the ledge the next day. I cried and was scared, and I thought, I've got to get this out of me immediately. And, like I said, she talked me off the ledge, and
it's a frightening diagnosis.
It is. It really is.
And we talk about it a lot because it seems like more and more women. I'm waiting for that 1 in 8 designation that we hear about. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed to go up, because we hear about it more and more. It may be because we're talking about it more and more and getting the information out there. But it has to be scary.
I'd like to add that maybe we're hearing more diagnosis because technology is better,
right,
and we're catching it earlier. Hopefully that's the case.
And that's probably true. All right, let's talk about now. So where do you go? What was the time frame between the final diagnosis and we have to do a lumpectomy?
So it was April 1st, April Fool's Day, not so much of a joke, that I was diagnosed. And I went home and spoke to my primary physician. And my first instinct was, I'm going to MD Anderson. That is, the mecca for any cancer diagnosis. But he said, now hold on, you don't have to go that far. You can choose Birmingham, Atlanta, or Jacksonville. And so I landed on Birmingham because our daughter, Amelia, at the time was at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and it would be convenient for her to come to all of my procedures that I needed to do. And it's only a 5-hour drive. Not bad, and David's job is flexible enough that he could be with me.
So your children at the time were grown but younger than they are now, obviously.
Right.
What kind of reaction did you get from them?
Well, we talked about it just recently, and neither one can remember the moment we told them that I had breast cancer, but Amelia does remember it me not putting so much emphasis on it, so they weren't scared because I had dealt with my being scared and knew that I was going to be in a good place.
How did David react?
He was scared, but very supportive. He had to be strong when I was sliding down the wall crying because I was scared. So I guess, it was a back and forth, but he's been strong and strong for me. And
So you went to Birmingham and you chose the lumpectomy initially.
yes, I chose a lumpectomy. I was very pleased with my team, and that's what I liked about UAB is when I first had my initial appointment, I met with my team, the breast surgeon, the oncologist, and the radiologist. And, they made me feel very comfortable with my surroundings and what was going to be happening.
And what happens after that now?
So I was scheduled for a lumpectomy. I checked into, I spent the night with a dear friend in Birmingham, and then checked into the hospital the next day for pre-op, and they, removed the lump, and then sent me on my merry way. But then my margins came back and they weren't clear. So they said, well, you've got two options. We can go back in and take out more breast tissue, or you can have a mastectomy. I said, you know what? Go ahead and do the mastectomy.
So they removed the left breast.
Yes, they removed my left breast. What I like to jokingly say is my right breast is live and my left breast is Memorex. For all of you who are old enough to remember those commercials.
What Memorex is. Yes, and unfortunately I am old enough to remember that. But now, do you have to have any other treatment? Did you have to do chemo or radiation?
I did not have to do radiation because there was no breast tissue left. And in my case, I'm glad that I did not have to have radiation because on my left side, it was very near my heart, and the radiation could cause heart damage. So I'm lucky in that respect that I didn't choose radiation. But I had the test, the Oncotype, which tells you your recurrence of breast cancer. And well, I just read up on it today. I was a 26 out of 1 to 100. And if I had been a 25, he might have said, no, you don't have to have chemo. But he came in and said, oh, you're a 26. You got to have chemo. I went, okay. He said, now you know you're going to lose your hair. I went, yes, I'm going to lose my hair. And so
and you did?
I did.
Yeah.
After my second round of chemo, it started coming out. And so
Now, are you traveling back to Birmingham for that as well?
For my chemo treatments, yes. I only had to have 4.
Okay.
And, I make light of, my breast cancer diagnosis, but I call what my treatment was chemo light. I didn't get sick. I think I did get sick one time, but I don't think it was from the chemo.
Now, did you tell me that your husband shaved your head for you?
He did. We were in our North Carolina home, and I washed my hair one day, and I said, you know what? It was like just a straw mat. And I said, it's got to come off. I just don't want to continue having clumps of hair.
Right. And so
come
he
out.
shaved it for you, huh?
He did, and I cried, and he cried, and
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's traumatic.
Yeah.
And dramatic.
It is.
It's a big change for your body and for your system, and you didn't think this was ever going to happen. And so did you take any type of pills, any daily pills or
I
monthly
did. I
pills?
took tamoxifen. Took it
What is that for?
It suppresses my hormones because I was ER/PR positive, HER2 negative. So yeah, it shut down my hormones, and the nice thing about it is my monthly visitor didn't show up again.
So that was it. So, that's sometimes
There's
a positive.
a
Yeah.
plus.
I mean, you were young when this happened.
Yeah, I was 47 when I was diagnosed, so that is pretty young. But I had the kind of cancer that the majority of ladies have, I believe. Technology has come a long way. I'm not sure what the statistics are now.
But it's more common. What you have is what people what you see more of.
Right.
Now, somewhere in the middle of all this, didn't you tell me you felt lumps on the right side?
I did, and that they turned out to be cysts. But that's what caused my gynecologist to really jump on this and be aggressive about looking into it further because of my history of my maternal aunt having passed away from breast cancer.
Did you ever consider removing the right breast, even though those were just cysts, just for the sake of...
Well, yes, but I wasn't ready to get rid of my right breast. And I will say I do have a marker on my right breast, but it's pretty deep, and I don't think it's anything that I can feel. So it's...
What does that mean?
I mean, it's a calcification.
So you can feel something.
No, I cannot feel it.
Oh, no, you can't.
I cannot feel it. So I need to get mammograms every year to make sure that it hasn't changed. But that doesn't mean that, excuse me, that I don't do self breast exams because, I have a history.
Right.
Yeah. So I may find something else.
Now, you didn't know, because you were adopted, you didn't know your family history, and that's what brought you to your biological mother.
Right.
But she didn't have breast cancer?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
Now,
not to my knowledge. She has not been diagnosed in the last couple of years. So
okay. And now, because you've had it, it puts your daughter Amelia at a little bit of a higher risk.
Right. And at the time, then she would be 17 times more likely to get breast cancer. And she has already had her baseline mammogram. So that's good. She's 31. I think she had it last year, maybe the year before. I can't be sure.
Right. But just because once it runs in the family, they suggest you do it earlier than 40.
Right.
Right. Okay. So she's conscious of it then, obviously. Now she's a grown woman, so she's keeping track.
Right.
All right. And so the tamoxifen you took for
8 years.
Wow.
I did. And then new studies came out. I have high cholesterol, which I think is genetic. And my oncologist said that your risk of a stroke or heart attack are higher than your risk for a breast cancer recurrence or the side effect of uterine cancer by taking tamoxifen. Now, technology could have changed. I don't know about, the statistics on someone taking tamoxifen and getting uterine cancer.
Right.
But anyway, I chose to go off of tamoxifen. It was I was nervous to do it because it gave me a little bit more peace of mind that my breast cancer wouldn't come back.
Right. Is that something you could go back and take again?
I suppose I could, but I'm fine with it now.
Yeah, because it's been 10 years. You've hit that 10-year mark that says chances are you're good to go.
Right.
Okay, and how does that make you feel?
Well, ecstatic, actually, but I'm still, I'm taking matters into my own hands these days. I've lived kind of a sedentary lifestyle the last several years, and I hate to even say this because my friends are going to make me do it. I'm going to be moving more. I don't like to call it exercise because we equate exercise with being on a diet. So I'm getting more movement in during my days. Like I'm going to be taking hikes and maybe playing pickleball. Who knows? But yeah.
You shouldn't roll your eyes when you say pickleball. That's like become a thing for like young people now,
thing.
too.
I just don't play. I roll my eyes because my friends are going to make me play.
Well, you live along the most beautiful beaches there in St. Joe and Gulf County.
Right.
You always go for a long walk, things like that. Keep the blood flowing, I guess. So they want you to be active to stay.
Yep, I'm lucky in that respect.
But you look fabulous.
Thank you.
You're in great
I feel
shape
good.
and you look
I feel good.
Yeah. So I know it's always in the back of your mind. Did your faith play a role in any of this?
Oh, gosh. I couldn't have gotten through it without prayer and my church family. And I brought with me today my prayer shawl. And there's a quick story about this. This is my second prayer shawl. And I hope I don't cry. I said I wasn't going to. But this is my second one. The first one I gave to a friend who her son got into an accident. And he's alive today, but is paralyzed. And I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I gave it to her when she needed to be with him.
Right.
So anyway, I gave it to her to give to him. So then after I had my lumpectomy, so I knew I was having my mastectomy, so I got another one.
There you go.
My church made me another one.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, we have a prayer shawl group.
I think that's a great idea
Yeah.
because sometimes we don't know what to do for a friend or a loved one that's diagnosed with breast cancer. And I think that's something physical you can have, and it affects your mental state, gives you a positive outlook on things, especially if you're spiritual.
Right.
So I think something you can hang on to.
Exactly. And it went with me for all my operations and all my chemo. It goes with me on most all my airline flights and all my travels because I know that God's with me.
When we talk about support from family and friends, one thing that is new that I know that you've been proactive in is that they've added a new 3D mammogram machine at Ascension Sacred Heart in Gulf County.
Yes.
So that comes in, I mean, that's a great
It's very handy
invention.
for me and other women. So I need to have a 3D mammography machine. I need to compare apples to apples, not apples to oranges. So I'm thankful that our hospital, our medical office building, Women's Diagnostic Center, has the latest technology in mammograms, and we're in the process of doing some fundraising to have a local match for Ascension to remodel the Women's Diagnostic Center so it's a comfortable and inviting place to come. At the moment, it shares this waiting room with physical therapy.
Right.
And so, there are men, women, children in there that, they need services, but it would be nice to have a waiting room all our own.
So you can relax too while
Right.
you're waiting for that. What's your best advice for women about breast cancer?
Well, first to obviously do self-breast exams, get a mammogram every year. And when you get that diagnosis, find your support group. And in most occasions, don't freak out. I know it's the C word, but that you have options.
Right.
And technology and medicine has come so far that more women are surviving breast cancer than are not.
Trish, it's so great to see you. I appreciate you so much coming in and sharing your journey with us. I mean, it's something, 10 years. God bless you. We're so glad you were able to come in.
Yep. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, Trish Warriner, I know everybody knows who you are.
No, not everybody.
Well, everybody in the Panhandle.
Well, we'll see.
We appreciate you so much.
Thanks.
All right, thanks again for coming out. And just a reminder to check for lumps, do it yourself, and then if you find something or you're just not sure, contact your doctor for a follow-up. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.